Game 3, Western Conference Finals. We've got Dallas at the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm Marco D'Angelo. I'm joined by Stephen Nover. We're going to break this game down for you. Stephen, series tied 1-1. What do you think of the Western Conference Finals? Who do you like? How do you see this thing? What have you seen from the first two games, and what do you expect moving forward? And then we'll actually break down Game 3 for a betting aspect.
Yeah, I think, Marco, that Oklahoma City is certainly a live team. I think they match up very well to Dallas, and getting a split in Dallas despite Dirk Nowitzki playing a perfect game, perfect first two games. He was outstanding. Dallas couldn't go up 2-0.
Well, I've got to admit, and we talked about this actually before we went on air, and actually we talked about it the other night about these games. Game 1, I liked Oklahoma City in Game 1. I thought Dallas sitting around for 8-9 days, history has shown that has been a negative for teams in that situation. I thought Oklahoma City had the momentum, even though they played a Game 7. They had the momentum coming in because they were, playing. They were tight. I know Dallas, there's a fine line between rest and rust. You want to have some rest, but you don't want to have too much rest. And then everybody says, oh, well, they're practicing. You never practice at the same speed that you play a game. So I thought Dallas would be at a disadvantage in Game 1. They won the game by 9, and it, like you said, it took probably one of the most perfect games played by Dirk in Game 1. 48 points. What was he, 24 of 24 from the foul line?
Amazing.
To get the job done. Game 2, I'll be honest, Stephen, I outfunked myself because going in, I had a plan. I was going to take Oklahoma City in Game 1. I was going to take Dallas in Game 2, and I stuck with it and stayed with Dallas. I felt that the number they put up, they adjusted the line down a little bit, figuring that Oklahoma City, the average bettor was going to look at the game, say, they only missed covering by 3 points with Dirk playing a perfect game. Can that happen again? And to my surprise, Oklahoma City, they went in and they beat Dallas in Dallas to now have home court advantage. Do you think that stealing Game 2 changes this whole series?
I don't think they stole Game 2. I think you're using that kind of as an expression. I think they're just as good as Dallas, if not better. They match up very well to them. They've put in their postseason dues. They've played as much postseason as Dallas has the last couple years. And Dallas had a very favorable matchup with the Lakers. Everybody's surprised, well, the Lakers gave it away, 4-game sweep. They weren't into it. The Lakers had problems, huge point guard deficit. They had their week with Ron Artest at small forward, and Dallas was able to take advantage of these positions. Well, Oklahoma City is not weak at those two positions, and they got a split in Dallas with Dirk, as I said earlier, playing 2 perfect games just about, with Russell Westbrook not really doing anything, being off 2 games. I mean, this guy's legitimate. He's an all-star point guard. He just doesn't disappear. He's going to have his, he's going to contribute. And this Oklahoma City team, Marco, they're under the radar. They have been all year. They're a small market. They're a very good team. They got very good chemistry. They really strengthened themselves inside, and they got a lot of that inside toughness. I don't know what Danny Ainge was thinking, dealing them Kendrick Perkins, but I don't think they stole anything. I think they can win the series very easily.
Going in, I like Dallas for the series. I still like Dallas for the series, but this is looking like a 7-game series to me. Dallas is going to be pushed to the limit.
Well, tell me, why do you like Dallas in this series?
Oklahoma City, they're still a young ball club that's got to learn how to win. Now, they had a learning experience in last year's playoffs, no question about it. They
extended the Lakers. They paid dues last year.
They did, and now they've taken it a step further this year. They're here at the Western Conference Finals. I don't think they're quite ready to get to the next level. You mentioned Westbrook. This is going to be curious to see how this plays out. You used the word chemistry, and I agree with you. This Oklahoma City team has chemistry. They've got a lot more options than Dallas has faced in the first 2 rounds. Portland and the Lakers were great draws for Dallas. I agree 100% with that. But what's going to happen now? Westbrook's been the type of guy, do you think that being sat down for the whole fourth quarter last night, how he's going to react. It's going to be one of two ways. After the game, he said all the right things, like you're supposed to. But either he comes back and plays a monster game, which is problems for Dallas, or now he becomes a head case, and if he starts having to lobby for minutes and stuff, are we going to have that cohesive chemistry on Oklahoma City?
Well, I think it's important, Marco, that Oklahoma City won that game too, sitting down Westbrook. So he's fine with that. Maybe if they lost or something, he might not be fine with that. But they're all on the same page together. And if you're going to specifically hone in on this point guard position, and I agree with you, I think it'll go deep 7 games probably. What would you rather have going in a 7th game? Russell Westbrook, who's an emerging superstar, close to his prime, if not already at his prime, or an aging over-the-hill Jason Kidd in a 7-game series who's got to be dead. It's been a long season.
I can't disagree with you, and being one of these old guys myself, I kind of like to see those old guys hang around, Stephen, but that said, looking at Game 3, I agree, this is going to be a good series, but looking at Game 3, where do you see the value? Do you see value here with Oklahoma City returning home off the momentum of that win? Or do you subscribe to, hey, let's go with the zigzag theory because it worked in Game 2, and actually the zigzag theory is 2-0 in the final so far because both teams that lost the first game came back and won and got the cover in Game 2. Miami doing it to Chicago. What do you think happens in Game 3? I actually have a play. It's going to be my free pick for this week. I'll get to it in a minute, but let's hear what you have to say.
Well, when you have the zigzag theory, it's a theory that's not exactly alien to the odds maker. They're well acquainted with that, and they subscribe to it. And they're going to tax you, and so you're not going to get any value playing the zigzag theory. What you got to determine is Oklahoma City legitimate? Do you feel they match up well with Dallas? I happen to feel they do. And so if, you're going to get some points with Dallas, but, is it enough? And then on the other hand, you're going to lay points with Oklahoma City. You have to decide, well, should I be laying with them, or is this a small price to lay? Because you're basically with that spread that I'm seeing, 2.5? Mm-hmm. Just asking them to win the game.
They opened this line at 3 and 202. And it's now sitting at 2.5 and 201, or at least it was of this morning whenever I looked at the lines for us to do the videos. My thing here is the one thing that Dallas has not done in the first 2 games, and this is where I'm going with my free pick. Why I like Dallas so much, and I actually believe of the 4 teams remaining, I thought Dallas was my pick at a value price to win the NBA championship. And the difference with Dallas is we all know they've always been able to score. They've always had scorers on this team. But to me, what separated them this year was their defense. That for the first time, they really played good defense. We haven't seen that in the first 2 games of this series. Oklahoma City scored 112 in Game 1 and 106 in Game 2. Dallas is not going to win this series if they play these games this way. That's not going to happen. They need to turn up the defense. They need to make Oklahoma City work for the shots, not have the transition baskets, and I think that's where the value is in Game 2. This total has been adjusted from Game 1 to Game 2 to Game 3 because of the results. I think now we're having a change of venue. The series is tied at 1-1. When you go to Game 3 in a 1-1 series, that becomes the pivotal game, because now Dallas knows they got to go into Oklahoma City and win one of those 2 to grab home court back. At 1-1, the team that goes up 2-1 in these series, as history has shown, has had a big historical edge to go on and win the series. So I think this game's going to be played tight, closer to the vest. I like the under in Game 3.
Well, in theory, it certainly makes sense. However,
my man.
However, Dirk's gone off in the first 2 games. Oklahoma City has shown no ability to corral him. Maybe law of averages, or he's a great player, but is he perfect? Maybe that's due to come down. You're probably getting some value by going under, as off a high-scoring game like that, you don't figure that to happen again. But also, Marco, Dallas can't stop Durant, and they don't have a player who can. I mean, who is there? Sean Marion, maybe a few years ago, but his defense has really slipped. And Peja Stojakovic, I mean, you play him, you're sacrificing defense for offense. So they were able to get away with that against the Lakers at that small forward position because Ron Artest has no offense, and he's over the hill. And the Lakers weren't getting anything out of Derek Fisher at point guard. Well, Westbrook, you can, again, playing devil's advocate, it's not like I have a strong opinion over to the under, but it'd be boring, if we agree, the strong opinion to the over or under. It's Westbrook is due to play better. And so, you factor these things in. In theory, you sound right, but before I get involved with an under, Marco, I've got to see some semblance of defense on Dirk, some semblance of defense on Durant. I got to see a defensive stopper there, and I'm not seeing it so far.
Well, again, if Dallas is going to have an opportunity to win this series, still a game in Oklahoma City, they need the defense to come up because I agree with you 100%. If they get in a shooting contest and they're going up and down the floor, Oklahoma City has more weapons than Dallas does, and that does not play into Dallas's hands. I can't see them winning that way, so I'm going to go with the under. I've got this score right now. I've got Oklahoma City winning 98-95, so for the game itself, we're looking at it right around the number, but I have it going way under the total. And another indicator to me that I'm on the right side with this total, Stephen, the total opened at 202 and immediately was bet to 201. Now, we all have said that generally the early money is sharp money in Vegas, even more so when it comes involving a total. And the reason for that is, I don't care, you can grab 100 people randomly on the street and ask them, do you want to bet this game over or under? You're going to get more overs than unders just because the human mind automatically says, well, if I bet an over, I'm never out of the game. I'm always still live because they can keep scoring. I can have over, all those different things. And if the Sharps wanted to take a position, they could wait because the public's probably going to bet the over just based on the first two games, but they didn't. They come in and grabbed this thing at 202. They were happy with 202 and took the under. I think I'm on the right side. I like the under. That's going to be my official play, and we're going to actually make it a best bet. We haven't had a best bet video for a while, so best bet on Oklahoma City, Dallas, under the total. And Stephen, as we normally do whenever we have a best bet, we give out a coupon, and I actually forgot to give it to our producer, Dustin, so I'll give it real simple. It's going to be Finals 10. Type out the word Finals and the number 10. You'll be able to get $10 off. Go to the shopping cart at pregame.com. You can pick any capper that you like, put them in the shopping cart, and if you enter that coupon, Finals 10, you'll get $10 off their package. So somebody wants to buy Stephen's play this weekend, they can save $10 with that coupon. And that's going to wrap up this one. You have any final thoughts on this one?
I don't have an opinion right now on the total, so I wish you luck on the under, though I would be a little careful, though, about maybe making that assumption that you make that wise guys grab that number. You could be right. However, though, they could, there's a few days in between these games, and it's not like the regular season. They've been known, certain groups that have gotten a lot of publicity, people probably know who I'm talking about, to play around, maybe set a false move where sharps like yourself would see that and perhaps think, well, maybe the wise guys are on that, and then they end up going the other way near post. So what you could be saying makes sense, but in the marketplace these days, you never fully know. There's a lot of games being played on these things.
I know the move that you're talking about, but generally speaking, Stephen, that play comes in more with where they'll bet the over early because they know then the public jumps on the over and it rises it even more, and then they get even more value coming back on the under. They generally don't do it as early with the under, but that is a classic move by the sharps and the outfits, and we know exactly who what you're talking
and
about.
I do think you're right, assuming that the public is going to be on the over, especially off a high-scoring game like that. Superstars, Nowinski and Durant, come on, the public's not going to be looking to play under, you know?
Absolutely, and the fact that going back to Oklahoma City. You got to think if they were able to go over in Dallas, where Dallas is supposed to control the tempo in their building, it's going to be even easier for them in Oklahoma City. So I'm going best bet on the under. We'll find out. We'll find out if I'm right or we're right next week.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Hope you get there.
You know, we like to bust each other's stones, that's for sure. Hey, that wraps up our first video. We're going to be back with another video because we've got Game 3 on Sunday, Stephen. Chicago Bulls at the Miami Heat, and we'll be back with that video next.